Good afternoon and welcome to Pakistan Today. I'm Chris Taylor. U.S. President Donald Trump says negotiations with Iran will now take place over the phone instead of lengthy in-person meetings, calling repeated travel unnecessary. Speaking after a call with Russian President Vladimir Putin, Trump said Moscow had offered to assist with Iran's uranium stockpile. He insisted that no agreement would be possible unless Iran completely gives up nuclear weapons. Trump also claimed the United States has destroyed nearly 80% of Iran's missile production facilities and described Tehran as militarily defeated. At the same time, he welcomed the United Arab Emirates' decision to leave OPEC, saying it could help lower global oil prices, while also criticizing NATO for what he called a lack of support for U.S. actions against Iran. Meanwhile, the Kremlin says Russian President Vladimir Putin and Donald Trump held a phone conversation focused on the growing Middle East crisis. Presidential aide Yuri Ushakov says both leaders discussed tensions involving Iran and the Persian Gulf. President Putin reportedly welcomed Trump's decision to extend the ceasefire with Iran, describing it as a positive step that could support diplomatic efforts and help stabilize the region. Moscow says continued dialogue remains essential to preventing further escalation. In Tehran, Iran's Justice Minister Amin Rahimi says all major decisions regarding war and negotiations are made by the Supreme National Security Council, with final approval from Mujtaba Ali Khamenei. Speaking to local media, Rahimi emphasized that all state institutions fully support the council's decisions, ensuring what he described as a unified national approach. He added that whether in defense or diplomacy, Iran's main objective remains protecting the rights of its people and safeguarding national interests. U.S. War Secretary Pete Hegseth says a deadly strike on an Iranian girls' school remains under investigation after the attack killed around 170 people, most of them children. Hegseth called the incident an unfortunate situation but declined to assign any financial cost to the strike. Reports suggest outdated intelligence may have caused a targeting error by U.S. forces. The incident has raised serious international concern over civilian casualties and accountability in the ongoing conflict, with growing calls for a transparent investigation. The United Nations Development Program has warned that the ongoing Iran war could push more than 30 million people into poverty worldwide. Speaking at a G7 meeting, Alexander De Croo said the conflict has reversed decades of development progress in just a matter of weeks. The crisis has been worsened by the closure of the Strait of Hormuz, disrupting global energy supplies and driving prices higher. The UNDP says countries across Africa and parts of Asia are likely to be hit hardest, with rising fuel costs and fertilizer shortages expected to impact millions in the months ahead. Now to Islamabad, where Pakistan's Ministry of Law and Justice has notified the transfer of 3 Islamabad High Court judges to other high courts under Article 200 of the Constitution. Justice Mohsin Akhtar Kayani has been transferred to the Lahore High Court, Justice Babar Sattar to the Peshawar High Court, and Justice Saman Rafat Imtiaz to the Sindh High Court. The transfers were approved by the Judicial Commission of Pakistan and formally notified by the President under constitutional provisions governing judicial transfers. For more on this, we go to our Islamabad correspondent Sarah William. Sarah, what more can you tell us?
Thank you, Chris. Legal circles in Islamabad are closely watching these transfers, as they involve some of the most prominent judges of the High Court. Officials say the process was completed under constitutional mechanisms and follows recommendations from the Judicial Commission of Pakistan. However, such transfers often attract strong debate within the legal community regarding judicial independence and administrative transparency. For now, the government maintains that the move is entirely in line with constitutional procedure and institutional requirements.
Thank you, Sarah William, reporting from Islamabad. And finally, Karachi Mayor Murtaza Wahab says comparisons between Karachi and Lahore in terms of infrastructure and governance are inappropriate due to very different ground realities. Speaking in Lahore alongside Punjab Housing Minister Bilal Yassin, Wahab highlighted Karachi's severe water shortage, saying the city receives far less water than its daily requirement. He called for stronger inter-provincial cooperation and greater sharing of expertise, stressing that no municipal system can function effectively without adequate resources. Wahab also pointed to ongoing development work in Karachi, including roads, bridges, drainage systems, and improvements in water supply infrastructure. That's all for now. You're watching Pakistan Today News. I'm Chris Taylor.